All right, good morning. I'm Jim McQuillan, the chair of the California Workforce Pathways Joint Advisory Committee. I wanted to thank you for joining us today. Today's meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format with staff on site at the California Department of Education headquarters, while members are attending via Zoom. If we experience any technical difficulties during our hybrid format, we will pause briefly to resolve them. And thank you in advance for your patience. Today's meeting is being broadcast through a live webcast. Interested parties can view the broadcast by visiting the California Workforce Pathways Joint Advisory Committee webpage and clicking on the live webcast link located under the 2025 public meetings, notices, agendas, and meeting minutes. You should know a recording of the meeting will be archived on the California Workforce Pathways Joint Advisory Committee webpage in about a week. I have the following announcements to ensure a smooth meeting. Please keep all microphones on mute. Members, please keep cameras on. All attendance and motions will be taken by roll call. Committee members will use the raise hand feature to be recognized for providing a comment or a question. I will ask for public comment for each agenda item again and again at the end of the meeting. Public comments can be made via Zoom, in person, email, or by phone. All options are explained on the posted agenda. Today we have 4 items to cover. First, we will review the minutes from the previous meeting. Second, we will discuss updates and progress on the California Cradle to Career Data System. Then we will hear from the Chancellor's Office and CDE staff, who will provide an update on the K-12 Strong Workforce Program, Perkins, and Career Technical Education Incentive Grants. We will conclude today's meeting with an update on the non-credit and adult education. There are lots of great topics today, but we must have a quorum to continue, which consists of 2 SBE members and 2 Board of Governors members being present for the entire meeting. Attendance will now be confirmed by roll call. Rachel, will you please call the roll?
Chair McQuillan.
Here.
Member Escobedo. Member Rawlings.
Present.
Member Rodriguez.
Here.
And Member Williams.
Here.
We have 4 members in attendance. It's now 9:42, and I will call this meeting to order. I want to recognize that we're coming to you from Sacramento, which is the indigenous lands of the Miwok people, and recognizing this month is American Indian Heritage Month. And, you know, this land has been here forever, and the first peoples here, the Sacramento area of the inland Miwok people. We want to show our thanks and appreciation for being on these tribal lands today. So, walk thou. Okay, before moving to the first agenda item, I will ask Rachel to announce the key staff members who are supporting the meeting today.
Good morning, everyone. Today at the California Department of Education on site, we have Carolyn Zachary from the Adult Education Office, Mitty Parsons, Division Director of the Career and College Transition Division, Laura Rodriguez from the State Board, myself, Rachel Moran, and Lisa Clark Devine from the Career and College Transition Division as well. Virtually, we have Sherry Fortin from the Chancellor's Office, Myra Diaz from the Chancellor's Office, Anthony Cordova and Gary Adams from the Chancellor's Office, and then we also have Liberty Van Natten from the California Department of Education.
Great, thank you, Rachel. Next, I would like to seek approval for the preliminary report of action draft minutes for our last July 11th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
right, we have a motion.
Second?
We have a second. I would like to invite committee members to provide any comments. Please use the raise hand feature and remember to stay on mute until your name has been called. After you've completed your comments, please lower your hand and place yourself on mute. Do we have any comments? I don't see anybody. Well, any members are discussing their thoughts. We will display the public comment slide, invite members of the public wishing to provide comment on this item through Zoom, email, in person, or by phone to do so at this time. We have the public comment slide up there. See, the public comment slide is now up. Do we have any public comments?
There is no public comment for this item.
Very good. We are now ready to vote. We'll have to cast our votes by roll call. Rachel, please call the roll.
Chair McQuillan,
Yes.
Member Escobedo, Member Rawlings,
Yes.
Member Rodriguez,
Yes.
Member Williams.
Yes.
Motion has passed for those minutes. Thank you. We will now move on to item number 2, California Cradle to Career Data System updates and progress. The California Cradle to Career Data System is a statewide longitudinal data status system that provides tools to help students reach their goals and delivers information on education and workforce outcomes. I would like to welcome Liberty Van Netten to the Division Director from CDE to share out updates and progress on the statewide system. Liberty?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Hold on, yes. Yes.
We have a
Okay.
quick technical difficulty.
One
We
second.
need to pause for one moment while we upload the appropriate slide deck.
Stand by, we're getting the slide deck up.
Rachel, are you waiting for me to share screen? Because I can totally do that. I would like to do that if possible, but
We are good. When it is time for you to share screen, you can.
okay.
Just, we have a staff, Lisa Clark Devine will be advancing the slides for you. So if you just say next slide when it's time.
Okay, we have Liberty Van Netten ready to go here.
Okay. So I'm gonna, let's see, I guess, next slide. Okay. I'm gonna turn camera off while I'm talking so I don't get distracted. I'm excited to be here today, folks. I am actually coming to you from the state of Arizona, at my sister's house in southern Arizona, home to the ancestral lands of the Tohono O'odham, Hopi, Zuni, and Western Apache. I am happy to be here and join you today. I am the director of the Education Data Management Division, and I'm also the representative for the Department of Education on the Cradle to Career Governing Board. So today I'm going to share with you a little update on that work and hopefully open an opportunity to come back and speak further about this exciting work that's sort of under the umbrella of the Cradle to Career legislation. So if you go to the next slide, please. So in order to understand and kind of really get a sense of the work that goes into this very exciting and new data system, it's helpful to understand our work internally at the department and around our data collections and our operational data work. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to share just a really brief overview of the Cradle to Career legislation, and then move into that actual the work and the data transfer work that we do. And then I'm going to give hopefully, I've never done this on Zoom before, but give a live demonstration of the Cradle to Career dashboard. So this is a public dashboard that everybody should be able to access today. I am definitely not Cradle to Career, but I've been involved in the work long enough to hopefully be able to at least give you a high-level sense of the tools that are currently available and perhaps what is more to come. So next slide, please. So as I mentioned earlier, the data collections and operations overview is really helpful to kind of set the context for the work that we do within the agency in order to contribute to the Cradle to Career data system. So if you go to the next slide, don't get overwhelmed. It's a doozy. There's a lot of information here. This is not comprehensive of all of our collections, but this is meant to represent just sort of a high level annual look at what we are collecting throughout the academic year between May and April. So the circles are really representing different snapshot and certified data collection windows that happen throughout the year. These are defined collection windows for the data reporting, and these data actually result in the data that show up on the California School Dashboard, on DataQuest, as well as the data that we provide to the Office of Cradle to Career. So these collection windows really speak to the work that our schools and districts are doing on any given day throughout the school year, providing data to the department for a number of different needs. On any given day, we are receiving on average about 1.9 million records submitted from our schools and districts. We peak at about 4.9 million records. So we are really proud of the data work that we do. It is the largest in the country, and it takes a village to get this work done. But again, I think it's really helpful to understand the size of this and the scope of this to really get a sense at what has happened in order for us to have these statewide tools that I'll share with later. So we have about 1,100 local educational agencies and 949 independent reporting charter schools that are reporting data to us at the state. We have about 30,000 active users who are also submitting those data. So this is sort of the snapshot certified, everybody's doing this at the same time collection. That's what this visual is meant to represent. If you go to the next slide, I will share a little bit about the ongoing operational data exchanges, and these are happening every day of the year. So we share data with multiple agencies, some of you are here, to meet a number of operational needs. So this operational data work is behind the scenes work that we do within our K-12 state longitudinal data system. So when we talk about the Cradle to Career data system, that is a P20 longitudinal data system. Our data system within the CDE is a K-12 SLDS. So these operational data exchanges are separate from our snapshot and certified data collections that I represented on the previous slide. So what that means is that in addition to the data that we're collecting from our schools and districts, we're also moving and transferring data in and out daily, weekly, monthly, and annually between all the folks that you see here. So these are mission critical to the department. They're mission critical to our schools and districts. They're mission critical to our students. So these transfers are how our districts know who their foster youth and their migrant students are. They help our graduates become eligible for financial aid. They ensure our students are able to take the CASP and the LPAC assessments. And they enable us to transfer data to the Cradle to Career data system. CDE, we are very proud to say, is the source of an estimated 70% of the data in the Cradle to Career data system. So if you go to the next slide, this is sort of a different visual representation. If you haven't guessed it yet, I'm a very visual person. I have a whiteboard that I'm constantly using. Like I can't think about things if I can't visualize it. And so the previous slide was just a list, right? And this is really to give you a sense of the flows and the movement of the information. So what's really important, and I want to highlight with that big pink square on the left, is the information, the main source of our information is coming from our schools and districts. And it is their data that they provide to us. So they are the authoritative source on the student data. But they submit those data into CalPADS, the California Longitudinal Pupil Achievement Data System. It's a mouthful. And they submit those data that is kind of the foundation for all of these other operational transfers that we do on any given day. You'll notice that between CalPADS and the districts, the arrow is going both directions. You'll also notice that that's happening with other agencies as well. So these transfers, they move at different cadences and as I mentioned, in different directions. But when you put the operational data work of CalPADS together with our collections, if you go to the next slide, it gets even crazier, right? So this is not meant to be the source of information. This is meant to visually represent the complexity of the work. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share this with you because not only within my division, but a number of divisions within the department, our partners at California School Information Services, CSIS, they're all working behind the scenes every single day to make this happen. So this is something I'm very proud of, and I wish I could say it was me, but it's not. I'm here to represent the folks who are actually rolling up their sleeves every day and doing this amazing work. So if you go to the next slide. So I have shared with you kind of that behind the scenes work to hopefully help you understand the scope and the scale and the different moving parts that contribute to our ability to provide data to the Cradle to Career data system. There's also the California College Guidance Initiative that I'm going to briefly talk about today as well. So if you go to the next slide, when we talk about Cradle to Career and CCGI, a lot of times people conflate those two. And they're really not the same. So CCGI was kind of created under the Cradle to Career umbrella of legislation, but they're very different systems. So here's a list of the different legislations that have been, pieces of legislation that have been passed beginning in 2019, which started with a planning process. And that was an 18-month planning process that went into thinking about what Cradle to Career should be to support the state of California. And then Assembly Bill 132 established the Office of Cradle to Career. So it sort of made it official. This is really going to happen. In 2022, CCGI became authorized to provide supports to California 6th through 12th grade students. And then in 2024, the student transcript standard became a thing, and standardized student transcript records. And again, I'm not going to go into detail about CCGI, but to enable CCGI to create transcript-informed accounts. So a lot of different pieces of legislation. We're going back several years. If you go to the next slide, though, I think this one helps to really get a sense of the differences between Cradle to Career and CCGI. So Cradle to Career is focused on linking data across systems and across time. So that makes them the longitudinal data system. They have, I think it's 16 data providers, but there could be more, and I should know this because I'm on the governing board, but it's still growing is what's so exciting about it. But Cradle to Career is about public reporting. It's about putting dashboards and query builder tools in the hands of Californians. It's also about creating some analytical tools, so to support research and evaluation purposes. So you can think about it as public facing, it's linking data across a number of sources. When you shift over to to Cradle to Career, this is really focused on grades 6 through 12 public school students. So it's really the data that is between CDE and our school district. So it's not a bunch of different data providers. And CCGI has been tasked with standing up what are called operational tools. So these tools are not for everybody. They're not public facing tools. These tools are in the hands of individual students. So they're intended to support college planning, pre-populating college applications, and to ultimately become the system to transfer final transcripts. So there isn't any public reporting. It's really, these are tools for students as well as their counselors and their teachers. So if you go to the next slide, this is just a real high-level timeline of the data work that has happened so far. So in 2019, that work group started, which I mentioned before, around Cradle to Career. 2021, CCGI was authorized, and then the Office of Cradle to Career came into existence. In 2022, this giant, what's called participation agreement was signed, where all the data providers signed and agreed to provide data to the system. And then in 23, we started transferring data files to CCGI, and we gave our first annual transfer of data to the Cradle to Career data system. In 2024, CCGI stood up basic student accounts for every single 6th through 12th grade student because of the data that CDE provides to them. So this is progress. This is exciting, and there's actually more to come. So if you go to the next slide. So I'm going to, like I mentioned before, I'm just going to give you a really quick high-level look at the work of CCGI. They are our partners, and we are really honored and proud to work with them. But in the future, I would love to be able to come here and share directly with CCGI to come and talk about the work, because their work is just evolving constantly and growing as well. So, and they're the experts. I definitely am not the experts in CCGI. So if you go to the next slide, this is just a really high level overview of what they actually do. So these are those operational tools. It's a one-stop place for kids to do career assessment and exploration, college career financial aid knowledge development, post-secondary planning, as well as college and financial aid application integrations. So if you go to the next slide, this is really what I wanted to focus on today. And it's really about the work of Cradle to Career and CDE's involvement in that. So if you go to the next slide, and a lovely visual. As I mentioned before, CDE is the largest data provider to the Cradle to Career system. So I wanted to give just some descriptive data with you all to give you an understanding of the real size and scale of this work. To date, we have provided 12 years of transitional kindergarten to grade 12 student level data. So that's over 870 million records for 16 plus million kids. So this is cumulative across time, right? As kids graduate, we get a new group of kindergartners. And so that number will continue to grow. For context, there's only 4 states in the US who have a total population greater than that 16 plus million kids. So our data are big. We started the work with the Office of Cradle to Career based on the participation agreement, which I mentioned earlier was signed. That work defined 75 data points. And we started, I think it was at least 2 years that we were working with Cradle to Career. It could have been more like 18 months, but anyhow, we were working directly with the Office of Cradle to Career weekly to really define and cull out what the purpose of the dashboards and what the need of the data are, so that we could ensure that we were providing what was needed to meet the intended purpose of this system. And so we started with 75 data points, and it expanded to 223 data points that we transferred in March of 2025. So this was things like, I think it was, I'm trying to think of a good example. There was one data point, I think it was like highest math course completed. And for anybody who knows about math courses, like, can you give me a definition of what highest math course is, right? So is it Algebra 1 or is it Math 1? And so like, what if a kid took half of a course? And so we actually expanded to provide all courses to Cradle to Career, so that not only can they answer that question, or starting with the definition, but answering that question of highest math course completed, other questions could be answered in the future as well. So that expansion took a lot of time and energy, but we now provide approximately 200 million records annually, and that happens in March of every year. So if you go to the next slide, this is, as I mentioned, 223 data points. This is not captured here, but what I wanted to share with folks, because I know a lot of folks are like, well, what do you guys give Cradle to Career? And so to give you a sense, each domain represents a file that we provide, and the content are provided in these files. And so for our individual student data, we're providing assessment enrollment data, person data, which is like when a kid was born, their race, ethnicity, their gender, program participation. So were they foster, homeless, migrant, EL? We also provide a retired file. It was a fun process to realize that we needed this. But our student IDs, not often, they are unique IDs, but they can change over time. So if a kid was in California in kindergarten, and then they went to Minnesota for 7 years and they came back to California, the school district may not have found them in our system. And so they may have enrolled that kid. And so they would have been given a new SSID. And so Cradle to Career system may not know that that's the same student. And so this file is really critical for their linkage across time. The section file and the career file, those are very interrelated, but it's about course completion, which I mentioned before. The career file is the CTE completion information. We also provide a work-based learning file, attendance, and then the CCI, which is the College Career Indicator measure from the California School Dashboard. If you go to the next slide, we are also providing school and district data. And so this enables Cradle to Career to aggregate the student level data in their dashboard at school and district levels. So they can understand where a kid went to school, for example. So institution, core, address, TK, suspension. The suspension is aggregate. The ACGR is aggregate. And then the capacity, which is average class size by grade, that was defined in the participation agreement. You'll notice the double asterisks. We are still working on what that would look like to be able to look across time because definitions of things have definitely changed as well as our collections. And then if you go to the next slide, the teacher data is actually a new domain, a collection of domains that we provide to Cradle to Career. So in the participation agreement, teacher data was not said to be coming from the department, but we decided through a number of conversations that in order for Cradle to Career to kind of meet their intended purpose, they really did need these data. Our teacher demographic data is really, really mission critical and to some of the research questions that we're hearing and have been hearing for a long time. So we provide teacher demographic, which has the things listed in the content column, and then staff assignment, and then institution TK. This is its own little thing, but I could go on and on about that. And then staff course assignment. So that's a real high level look at the data that we provide. Our technical documentation is like 100 and I don't know how many pages long. It's been a labor of love, and we're really excited to move from this idea of planning to action and where we're actually providing these data with now they have 12 years of these data. So it's super, 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 super exciting. So with that, I think I'll be able to share screen and give you just a real high level look at the Cradle to Career dashboard that was recently released. And let me see here. So Rachel, I'm just going to try doing it, and if it doesn't work, you all will have to tell me.
We can see your screen.
Okay, excellent. So it's kind of, let me minimize this over here. Oh, I don't know what happened. The data updated. So I think I included, it's in the slide deck, the link to this dashboard. This is the Pathways to College in California data story. And I want to preface my presentation here with saying, this is Cradle to Career's dashboard, and they own this, and they are the experts in this information. But it's a public tool that we all can look at. And because I'm a Californian, I get to look at it too. So it starts out with some really important kind of grounding information on what the story of the Student Pathways dashboard is about. And there are resources currently in Spanish. I believe they're going to be expanding. And then you can dig into the actual dashboard, and it starts with this filter that sits at the very top, and it will apply to a number of the dashboards that are below. So the first dashboard is the Sankey diagram, and this is looking at whether kids who graduated from high school in the 2014-15 school year, looking out to 22-23, and whether or not they ever enrolled in college. And so we're starting with high school graduates, and then you can follow their path of where they went. And you can filter by school district. You can also filter by a number of different student groups, and you can then apply that filter. I'll just leave it at the state level look for now. And so you can see who never enrolled. About 31% of our high school graduates from 14-15 never enrolled. And about 49% first enrolled in a two-year college. That's what this band represents. Then they went on to other places. So it's an interesting diagram. It tells a very rich story to understand the different paths that our students go through to come to college. So I would have gone through here, this middle bucket, and then I would have landed over here into the bachelor's degree. And then to my mom's pride, I then went on to graduate school. So there's another path that isn't quite captured here. But so it tells us a little bit about where our graduates go. Important to note, and I think it's covered up here about who's included in this diagram. This is only graduates. So our GED completers are quote unquote dropouts. They're not included in this data set. And the other thing that maybe limitation of this dashboard is that it's only looking at California public colleges and universities. So our private post-secondaries, both in-state and out-of-state, are not included in this dashboard. And so you can start looking into some, there are some school districts where you're like, wait a minute, only 30% of their kids went to college. I know that's different. And so if the students are going to a college out of the state or a private college, they are not represented in this dashboard. And then this is a place to look at who our first-time college enrollment student population is. You could add a number of different filters. Whoopsie. So you can look by 2-year versus 4-year college. You can look at the enrollment year. So then it goes into what types of degrees students earn. And so the dark blue is community college certificate, orange is associate degree. The lightish blue is a bachelor's and they didn't transfer, and then a dark blue is the bachelor's who did transfer. So this would be me, because I started from a 2-year university. So I was a bachelor who transferred. And then this is stuff that you can kind of maybe go look at different dashboards and find. But when you scroll down here, this is where the information starts to get even more exciting and interesting. So how long does it take for folks to get an award from our California public colleges? The median time to award is 4 years, and that's what we would expect. And then it gets super, super interesting. So this is where we start to look at really linked data across 3 different systems. So we're looking at K-12, starting with who our graduates are, then looking at the 2- and 4-year public universities, and then looking at wage and employment information. And so this one is interesting because it's asking the question of how many of our kids who were enrolled in college also worked. And so it's not super different, but if you do filter down to student populations, and I encourage folks to dig in and kind of just drive around in that dashboard and have fun with it, the numbers will shift. And so there are really rich stories to tell within here. And then how much do students earn after they graduate? So this is pretty interesting and not super surprising, but it is telling us, and our students can go in here and see, all right, on average, I'm going to be earning more than somebody who transferred if I go straight to my 4-year university. So on average, but you can also apply those different filters. So let's see, where is it at? Second here. Oh, it's right there in front of me. So each of these reports, you can download the data, and that is, I believe it gives you everything. It's like, I think they call them flat files, but this is a place for folks to, if you don't want to dig around in the filters and you're savvy in Excel, you can pull down the data and build your own dashboards with it as well. So with that, I will stop sharing. I will turn my camera on and I will see if folks have any questions.
Great, thank you, Liberty. for that information. It was nice to hear what data is already available and to start thinking about future uses of this data. I'd like to invite committee members to provide any comments now. And while members are discussing their thoughts, we will display the public comment slide and invite members of the public wishing to provide any comments on this item through Zoom, email, in person, or phone to prepare to do so at this time. But members, do we have any thoughts on this data system, cradle to career? Idea?
I'll go ahead. I just want to say that I really appreciated looking at all of the wealth of information that we have access to. And I also want to make a comment that I dug down into the local schools here in Imperial County, and my school is missing. I was going to share this with my administration so that they can look into it. So I guess I'll put in the contact area, send them an email and let them know.
Yeah, there's likely an answer, and I think this is their first release,
Okay.
and so we have received questions, and I know C2C is also receiving questions, and I think if you reach out to Mindy or Rachel, she can give you my contact information as well, and I'm happy to coordinate that conversation as well.
All right. Thank you so much, and thank you for this presentation. Really appreciated seeing all of this. A lot of work.
Exciting.
Thank you, Member Rodriguez. Any other members?
I got mine, and then Member Williams after me, I think. So this is great. I've been looking forward to seeing this for quite a long time. I've been a big advocate. If you've been following our meetings for a while, I've been a big advocate for us being able to use this kind of data. So it's really nice to see that, especially the fact that we're able already to see where people are connecting with the public colleges, where they're not connecting with California public colleges, but maybe connecting other places. One of the things that the Board of Governors has been really focused on has been identifying those students who do not engage in post-secondary learning and may get kind of stuck or trapped in jobs that don't provide them the kind of kind of generational change that we're looking to create within some of our regions and our economies. And so the fact that we're able to get ahead of those now a little bit better is really wonderful to see. And I think this may go along a little bit with Member Williams' question is being able to disaggregate this data by region, by race, by socioeconomic background. What are the capabilities there, and are we using that now?
Great.
Yeah, I believe that the tool definitely lets you look at race, ethnicity. I'm going to move this window over here so I can kind of pull it up myself. But under the student populations filter, you can see race, ethnicity is one of the categories that you can disaggregate by gender, their foster youth status, and their homelessness status. There are other data that Cradle to Career has. One of them, if you've been watching the Cradle to Career Governing Board meetings, has been an ongoing discussion around socioeconomic status and parent education level. And so there's an item coming next week to be discussing that. And then I don't know the timeline for Cradle to Career to expand, but the goal is to add in socioeconomic status to the filters as well. And so they've built the framework, and then they can add that information in as it grows. And then I believe you can look at district and student population, but I don't. And then there's also legislative district. That was the other one I wanted to say. So you can look at these data by legislative districts across the state. So that's currently what's in existence in the dashboard.
That will be very handy when we go to advocate for our
Totally.
students. by legislative district, that'll be really powerful. So just a comment and maybe another question. Being able to overlay this with the data we already have about our CTE completers, I think it's going to be wonderful because I know as we've gone over the past couple of years and be able to connect the data within CalPads and be able to take a look at the graduation rates, particularly of CTE completers, has been remarkable. It's been very equitable outcomes. It's the very kind of thing we're trying to do. And being able to learn about that and how we can apply, and maybe that it's the experiential part of CTE that's getting us those kind of benefits, but being able to dig a little deeper on that and then being able to apply it to other disciplines, not just CTE courses, I think would be wonderful. And then last question is, and you may not be familiar with this, but hopefully you are, is right now we're, Cradle to Career is really focused in on building data through our education systems, right, all the way through. But I recall there was some discussion originally about expanding it and being able to really get more into the job data, get into health outcomes data and those kind of things. And seeing that some of the data sharing that CDE is already doing aligns with health agencies is really interesting. So is there a plan to kind of connect those bits of data as well?
Within the Cradle to Career system, it's my understanding. Yeah, I mean, back, I threw out some stats to try to get a sense of the size of our data within the state. Right. That in and of itself is such a rich pool of research information, right? We're not looking at incisors that constantly have to be suppressed. And they are so big that they're valid and reliable, right? And so the C2C system is intended to tell a much richer story. And I think I glossed over this really quickly in the presentation, or maybe I just thought about it, but the system itself is also intended to allow researchers to request data out of it, so that researchers can actually look at those linked data across systems and across time. So kind of sky's the limit in a lot of ways, as long as the data exists, right?
I would say this is going to be a data set that will probably supply every doctoral research student in the country enough data to do anything they need with it. It's really great.
It's huge.
Very good. Thank you, Member Rawlings. We want to recognize Member Williams.
Yeah, first, I also want to give appreciation to how impressive, the data set is, and, how much information you all are able to collect. And so my thought goes to, I think the committee will really benefit from having, I don't know if an action research question is appropriate, or so that we can focus future presentations on things that'll help us see what trends, if there are any equity gaps. The question I'm most concerned about is the number of CTE students that are having the opportunity to earn college credit while in high school. And so I think we would benefit. And the Institute for the Future has a really good foresight framework. They facilitated the governor's Jobs for the Future Commission. And so they look at trends, drivers, they help with crafting some scenarios. And then from it, type of foresight. So what is the data saying to us is what I think this committee would really benefit from. And so if we had a research question, some of our agendas can kind of be themed around looking at certain parts of the data versus just knowing that we have a lot of data, and then we can, kind of figure out what kind of policies we want to start focusing on and where we should be allocating resources. And so if there's a way that we can keep this as an ongoing thing, but we need some real themes of what does the data mean? Because that's a lot of information. Where do we want to focus? And how are we going to change policy if needed or allocate resources? So those are just my thoughts, Chair.
Very good. Thank you, Member Williams. I'm thinking the same thing. You kind of stole the words out of my mouth. That same thing. I think this is a great system to think about looking at those trends. Where are the strong points of the direction our students are going, and then where are the areas of concern, broken out by different subgroups. I like that idea of us rolling up our sleeves and digging in and taking a look at this to help influence policy in the direction that we're going as a committee and in our systems also. So great use of a good overview of the data. And I'm speaking as a recovering guidance counselor. That's my background. So great tool to have access to that during my time when I was at the high school years ago, we did not have a tool like this. So it's great to see this. I know in our counties up north, we're able to have a MDT meeting right now, or a multidisciplinary team meeting. We're able to focus in on students of greatest need, using a system like that, seeing the foster or homeless students and having a discussion of how those students are doing and are not doing, and focusing resources on those most high-end students. So data is so good and useful. So anyway, very good. Any other?
I so sorry, I think there's a lag, and I apologize if I just interrupted you.
Well, that's
Uh,
good. Just go ahead, Liberty.
the other piece to this, which I definitely glossed over, is the work of CCGI and the student tools that they now have access to, and that is their work is actually expanding and growing. Ultimately, I believe it's in 2027 that the timeline is that all districts will be providing the student transcripts directly to CCGI, so that it can be this click of a button submitting your transcripts to colleges and universities. And then students can see their eligibility for colleges and universities. So when you mentioned being a guidance counselor, I think that the CCGI tools are equally impactful, but they're also kind of a now thing, right? And they're in the hands of students today and counselors as well. So if folks are interested, I would love to come talk about the work of CCGI in the future. It's really, really exciting as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. And thank you for this overview and all the great information. It's been a good conversation on
Chair,
data. Go ahead.
can I ask a follow-up question, Chair? Sure. With that capabilities, because that's really cool to be able to just make sure that stuff gets submitted. But for our not college-bound students, do we have the same capabilities for state-funded post-secondary option, like the WIOA training programs and all of the vocational programs? Can that same mechanism to submit be shared with, because there's a lot of funding at the county levels for young people to go into these workforce development programs. Does that exist to where counselors, because we focus a lot on college, but most kids don't go to college. They're going into other, avenues. They'll go in a lot later. So is that same technology integratable to some of the other state-funded training programs?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer, and I think that is something that CCGI would definitely be able to answer. The tools as they are today are already planned for expansion, and so I said it already, sky's the limit, but I think CCGI is probably best to answer that question on whether or not the information from that system goes beyond just colleges and universities. But they have a plethora of tools and resources for kiddos as well. So it's not just about transferring information, it's about, should I go to college or should I go explore this career? And so there's a whole host of stuff in there that I think you all would be a really eager audience to hear about, because the questions I'm hearing really do speak to a lot of the work that CCGI is doing.
That's very good. Did you also mention that some of the private programs or training programs are not being collected in California? I imagine that they'd have to sign up to participate in order to have their data involved.
Yeah. The National Student Clearinghouse is a national data set for all colleges and universities across the country. I think it represents like 99% or 99.9. I'm definitely not the expert on that, but the National Student Clearinghouse data has been, those aren't CDE's data, and so we have not been able to provide them to Cradle to Career. They have to get them from NSC directly. And I believe that those discussions, I know those discussions are well underway. And so when that information is able to be ingested into C2C, meaning the private and the out of states, that dashboard would likely expand. And so you would be able to see beyond just our California public colleges and universities.
Thank you. Member Williams?
Chair, you keep giving me more questions to ask. I just wanted to put on the table ETP, the Employment Training Panel, because they have the list of all the training providers that get the state and federal workforce development and training. And so that seems like that could be easily integrated to make sure that we're covering the range of post-secondary options. We're trying to expand folks' language from just saying college and career to college and post-secondary, because college is a part of that. And so when we only focus on college, we take a lot of opportunities off the table for our students. And so ETP, again, we talk about agency collaboration and working with the employment training panel is really important that, we're, looking at those other state-funded institutions.
I agree totally. There are a lot of training programs. I'm thinking of the fire academies up north that are becoming, unfortunately, a growing industry of needing more firefighters. And up north, I know there's heavy equipment operators programs that we're probably not getting the data from those type programs, which would be really useful to have, to see those trends, see the growing industries, and then the needs, where are we missing those gaps? It's really good conversation. I really appreciate this. Any other comments from the committee? Because we're going to move towards our public comment period. And Rachel, do we have any public comments at this point?
There are no public comments on this item.
All right, very good. Good conversation. Well, again, thank Liberty for helping us with that overview. Very good.
Thank you for having me.
Safe travels. I'm going to move us to item number 3. It's now time for item 3, which is our standing update on the 3 CTE grants overseen by the CDE and the Chancellor's Office. I would like to welcome Sherry Fortine, and Dean of the Chancellor's Office, and Mindy Parsons, Division Director from CDE, to guide the committee through the updates on the K-12 Strong Workforce programs. Perkins, CTIG, you have an update for us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the welcome, and I'm really glad to be here. Before we dive in, we do have a brief update from the Chancellor's Office that I'm happy to share with the committee, and I'm going to take myself off camera so that we can focus on the slide deck as well. There we go. This is, again, it's a brief update from the Chancellor's Office to the California Workforce Pathways Joint Advisory Committee. And as my boss says, Vice Chancellor Cordova, all roads lead to workforce. And in our area, we are taking that statement very literally. Every on-ramp, every lane, every turn gets our students closer to the workforce, and our GPS is locked on jobs and opportunities. The groundbreaking nature of our work, every initiative, every partnership, and every strategy is designed to prepare Californians and California community college students for meaningful careers and greater economic mobility. So I know at our last meeting, we talked a little bit about Vision 2030, but I want to walk through some of the shifts that have happened in our key priorities, our strategies, and how our Vision 2030 refresh is shaping a worker-centered, industry-aligned future for our state. So next slide, please. As we all know, our colleges play a critical role in their community, and they provide locally focused education, training, and support resources, often to underserved populations. The Chancellor's Office has introduced Vision 2030, a July 2025 edition. And as you know, the Vision 2030 is our future-looking, living, iterative plan that sort of charts a new frontier for the California community colleges systems. And at its core, Vision 2030 is about a commitment to our students. And we are committed to working learners, first-generation students, and underserved populations. And the goal is to unlock greater opportunities for the over 2.1 million students that are currently enrolled in California community colleges, and the additional 6.8 million adults who are ready to earn a credential. This is the Vision 2030 isn't meant to be a static document. It's meant to be a dynamic roadmap that evolves with the needs of our students and the workforce. I really do think Vision 2030 positions us to meet California's economic demands and ensures equity and access for every learner. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we've re-envisioned or reimagined Vision 2030. However, I want to just make it clear that the July edition of Vision 2030 is not changing directions, but it's a recommitment to the three principal goals in the document. It's equity and access, equity and success, and equity and support. And the Vision 2030 refresh also incorporates lessons learned over the last 18 months of implementation of our strategic vision. So the refresh takes kind of a clarified approach. It redefines some of the infrastructure development and some of the policy frameworks necessary to advance the goals in Vision 2030. And it expands the plans to incorporate some of the challenges and opportunities that are emerging across our system, our state, and in the nation. Next slide, please. I don't think I'll go over all of the changes in Vision 2030, but the Vision 2030 Reimagined incorporates some real bold actions, and here are some highlights. So I would encourage members of the committee to dig into Vision 2030, and you'll note when you look through the document that the changes kind of boil down to redesigning or relooking at the student experience, expanding on our dual enrollment initiatives and our work-based learning initiatives, centering equity and inclusion in our governance structures at our colleges, and strengthening workforce alignment across the system. And these bold actions are about creating a system that is responsive and inclusive and, again, aligned with the future of work. Next slide, please. In response to Vision 2030, the Workforce and Economic Development Division has developed a workforce work plan. And I won't read each of these squares to you. You can take a look at them, but we're focused on building strategic partnerships, increasing educational access for low-income workers, expanding community college baccalaureate degree programs from and we're aiming for 200 community college baccalaureate degree programs by 2030. Focused on nursing, allied health, and mental health programs with greater degree maps and expanded programs and opportunities for folks in healthcare fields. Additionally, we're advancing engagement in 4 fields of climate practice. And finally, working on faculty shortages in high demand fields, so expanding our ed sector work. So together, these 6 strategies in our workforce work plan are meant to really drive some of the strong workforce initiatives in our Vision 2030 strategic plan. Next slide, please. As I wrap up, I just want to leave you with kind of a big picture of the Chancellor's Office workforce work plan. Again, everything we do is guided by Vision 2030 and our Vision 2030 July refresh, which serves to advance a worker-centered and industry-aligned framework. This essentially means our focus is on preparing Californians for jobs of today, but also jobs for the future. And we've identified some priority sectors that we're working on, which are outlined here. Again, healthcare, climate, STEM, technology, education. There are countless others, but these are some of the areas that are critical for California's economy and for the health and strength of communities. We're reaffirming our commitment to equity, which is at the heart of the work, and expanding access and opportunity for our low-income and underserved students and workers. We want everyone to have a fair chance to succeed and achieve economic mobility. To make that happen, we're investing in innovative strategies such as apprenticeships, stackable credentials, credit for prior learning, flexible on-ramps and off-ramps. The goal is to meet learners really where they are. And we can't do this alone. So our team has been working diligently on developing strong partnerships with industry, strong partnerships with our state agency colleagues, developing new partnerships and expanding existing philanthropic partnerships, and also worker organizations. All of these relationships and partnerships are key to drive our initiatives forward in our work plan. And finally, the goal, I think, is simple but powerful. We want to equip our students and Californians with the skills they need for socioeconomic mobility and to meet future workforce demands. And because we're forward thinking, I want to turn this presentation over to my colleague, Dawn Daves-Rougeau, who will share an update on some of the work that we're advancing in AI and workforce development. Dawn?
Great. Thank you, Dean Fortin. You can go ahead and advance to the next slide, please. So good morning, everyone. My name is Dawn Daves-Rougeau. I serve as the Senior Advisor to Chancellor Christian, and I support three major areas: workforce and economic development to support Vice Chancellor Cordova. I lead our strategic partnerships for the system, and I'm also part of our generative AI leadership team. So thank you for allowing us to have a little bit of time to share out with you some of the great work that we're doing across the system and across the state on behalf of not only our 2.2 million students, but all of our all of our learners across California. So I just have a few slides here that are somewhat high level, but they're pretty dense in the sense that there's a lot of content here. I wanted to start just with these three big buckets here. The first one is our field guidance, ethics, and principles, some AI tools, projects, and pilots that we're working on, as well as just some a glimpse of sort of the future tech work that we're developing. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So you can see here that we have under field guidance, ethics, and principles, one of the ways that we are engaging our system, a system as large as the California Community Colleges, requires a lot of stakeholder engagement to ensure that we are providing appropriate guidance, ethics, and principles for our 73 districts and 116 community colleges. The way we do that initially is to support to get input through our AI Council, which is a collective of stakeholders from across the system in various roles. That's led by Craig Hayward, who is our principal leader on AI strategy. The AI Council also developed what we call our humans principles, and there's additional information on that on slides that are on future slides coming up here in the presentation. And then also one of the big projects that we've started to launch immediately has been our AI literacy guidelines. So we have AI literacy strategies focused on both faculty, professional development, AI literacy. We are developing an AI literacy community engagement initiative, and then we are just beginning to develop the AI literacy components for our students as well as our classified professionals. One thing that I want to add in the AI literacy piece is that as part of the K-12 Strong Workforce Program, Vice Chancellor Cordova approved providing an opportunity for our K-12 LEAs to submit proposals that would allow them to integrate AI literacy into the K-12 CTE pathways. So they were able to do that in round 7 last year. There were 19 proposals across the state for K-12s in partnership with community colleges who were able to get funding to begin that process. And that was led principally by our county offices of education and our regional occupation programs to make sure that that effort was approached at a regional level. We know that there are some, we suspect, I can't say we know because I haven't looked at it, the applications for round 8, but we suspect there'll be some additional opportunities for K-12s to write to AI literacy in their CTE pathways. That's really important because it allows us to build that through line between our K-12 and our community colleges in our CTE pathway work to start to lay the groundwork, for example, for dual enrollment opportunities in CTE pathways and in AI areas of study. Within our larger guidelines for the system, we also have a work plan for AI. And as you can see here, there are 6 different activities. So we have the rapid deployment to eliminate enrollment fraud, the build out of AI infrastructure activity, workforce relationships with generative AI, to evaluate AI for teaching and learning, achieve proof of concept for AI enhanced student support services, and then to advance AI policy and foster a culture of AI literacy. In the next bucket here, we have our AI tools, projects, and pilots. You may have heard recently, a few months ago, about the announcement that CSU was able to acquire through purchase OpenAI for education version for their system for 18 months. We've been successful in being able to acquire Google's Gemini app and Notebook LM enterprise versions for free for our entire system. So all 2.2 million students, 88,000 employees, our regional consortia, as well as the Chancellor's Office, will have access to those enterprise level tools. And we'll be rolling those out with a small cohort of early adopters to help us think through how each of the 73 districts want to do that implementation at the local and regional level. We've been working on developing some AI tutor tools. We are doing a 2D biology pilot. We're doing it. Nectar AI is an initiative where we're doing personalized tutoring with faculty, and PlayLab allows us to train faculty, staff, and even students on how to build out their own chatbots. And that assists with the personalized learning. And that's particularly important as we think about how we want to upskill our workforce across the state of California. The next item there you'll see is the IT workforce MOUs. You may have heard that recently Chancellor Christian met with Chancellor Milley from CSU and the governor here in San Francisco, and they signed a number of MOUs with partners such as Adobe, IBM, Microsoft, and Google. We had previously had an MOU signed with NVIDIA, and we are currently in the process of finalizing an MOU with Coursera to be able to provide AI literacy content and courses for all of our colleges across the system for free for 1 year. Dean Fortin also mentioned our priority sectors, so I wanted to share out with you some current industry projects. We do currently have a nursing apprenticeship AI certification project that's been launched over the last few months. We've got 15 colleges across the system that have been working to develop AI certifications in nursing apprenticeships. And that is actually been funded by a generous grant from Salesforce. We also have a project that's focused on the integration of AI in public safety. And so we have one of our AI fellows, Dr. Dean Jacqueline Hester from San Diego Community College District. She's a Dean of Public Safety and has been working with us, a regional director from the Bay Area, Linda Vaughn, to put together an initiative around the integration of AI in public safety occupations. We have a small pilot in the Bay region around ECE and education and AI in the ECE and education sector. We're also looking at developing spatial learning. So that's AR, VR, XR, and how might we train all of our faculty and some students to begin to develop AR, VR, XR content, but also looking at and evaluating the tools, software, and hardware. That's particularly relevant as you think about the implications for that in the larger workforce environment. And then lastly, we have a project that we're just starting to develop, which is AI apprenticeships and entrepreneurship. So that one is, I'm just going to give you a little teaser on that. I'm not going to give you too much information on that one just yet, but it's really an opportunity for us to start to think about how do we develop AI apprenticeship opportunities for our learners to go into work with small and mid-sized businesses, local government, community-based organizations, and nonprofits locally. What's really important about this is two pieces that I will share. One is, as many of you know, that a lot of the tech companies have eliminated most of the entry-level jobs. So we want to be able to provide an AI apprenticeship initiative that allows our learners to be able to get that entry-level experience that then will make them eligible for those higher-level skilled jobs. And then also a number of our students have graduated, have matriculated 4-year, graduated with CS degrees, and now can't find jobs. So we're looking at how do we build a program that allows those students to come back and get retrained around entrepreneurship, set up their own small and mid-sized businesses. Future tech, agentic AI, opportunities and risks that we're looking at. Robotics, collaborative robots is a term that's being tossed around a little bit by Amazon these days around, we're not going to replace jobs completely with robots, but humans will be working in partnership and collaboration with robots, for example, in their warehouses. There's the rise of invisible technology. You've probably seen folks are wearing eyewear that allows them to kind of access the internet with the swipe of a finger. And then digital twins. So you're probably not certain if I'm a digital twin, if this is actually me reporting out to you, but I can assure you that it is me, my real person. So I'll bring the digital twin next time. Okay, next slide, please. I wanted to give you kind of an overview, given those three big buckets, just a high-level overview of how we are mobilizing our system across the state of California. I already shared out our AI literacy piece around field support and engagement. We also have what we call our AI fellows and our AI change makers. These are ambassadors, scholars, innovators, special advisors. These are individuals across the system who already are deeply immersed in the AI space across their industry sector or their discipline. And we provided different roles for them to engage in that work on behalf of the system. So it's a combination of our AI council, which are folks from the field who are really helping to provide guidance and recommendations for policy, things of that nature, and then bringing up the talent from across the system at the grassroots level, folks who are already leading the work. So it's an opportunity for them to help inform our projects and initiatives, but then also for us to be able to share out resources that the Chancellor's Office is able to curate for the system. And I won't go into every one of these roles. Folks can check in with me at some point if you have Q&A around what those roles entail. I'll just say two of them are AI change makers, are individuals who have expertise in very specific fields. It could be HR, it could be in ethnic studies, it could be in the discipline of communications, it could be in nursing, advanced manufacturing. So we can call on those individuals to say, we are looking at developing a project in advanced manufacturing or welding, and we want you to participate in a community of practice to help us think about a system-wide approach to developing curriculum, to developing products, et cetera. Our AI ambassador program is an opportunity for faculty and staff who are going on sabbatical to come to our Digital Center for Innovation, Transformation, and Equity and serve a residency for 1 year in the Digital Center to also then work on curriculum policy, product design, things of that nature, and create those communities of practice. We have 13 AI fellows, and they in the gold box there, you'll see these are the areas of expertise that they represent. It's pretty broad: accessibility, agentic AI, AR, VR, comms, counseling, distance education, English, entrepreneurship, et cetera. And then they are focused on 7 priority areas, which is the light blue box at the bottom there. So they either have a primary area or a secondary area, and between the combination of all 13 of them, they encompass all 7 of these particular areas. We were also very intentional through Vice Chancellor Cordova to provide support for our fellowship program to ensure that we had 8 workforce-focused fellows. So there are 8 of those individuals who are assigned to each of the workforce economic regions across the system, and working very closely with those regional consortia chairs and their local AI task forces or AI structures, again, to ensure that there's a two-way focus between the field and the Chancellor's Office. Next slide, please. I did mention our Digital Center for Innovation, Transformation, and Equity. So this was launched a year ago, just after our Future Summit. It's a virtual space where we think about it as our system-wide startup incubator space, maker space, but virtual. It's a space where we can, for example, as I mentioned, bring our AI ambassadors to serve their residency. It's a space for us to develop partnerships between state agencies, industry leaders, be really nimble in terms of the kinds of pilots and tools that we develop, and really think about, like, if a tech solutionist comes to us and says, we've got a great tool, this is a space for us to begin to incubate that, to vet it, to assess for impact, to assess for equity before we roll it out across the system. The Digital Center was founded by, in partnership with Foothill De Anza Community College District and Chancellor Lee Lambert there. And then we have another 7 other partner districts that have joined the Digital Center. And we will bring these kinds of early tools and innovation to that cohort of districts who are really leaning into innovation as system-wide leaders, to provide an opportunity to evaluate all of those tools. Next slide, please. One of the things that our AI Council developed, was our humans principles. And so you can see there that it's human-centered, universal support, managed privacy, algorithmic protection, notice and explanation, and safety and security. So we want to make sure that as a system, these are our high-level guidance principles for our utilization, adoption, evaluation, assessment, and integration of AI tools across all of our colleges. These are principles. As you know, the Chancellor's Office, we don't mandate things to our districts, but this is informed by our AI Council, and colleges and districts are starting to adopt these principles as they look to build out their own local frameworks. Next slide, please. Just wanted to end with some upcoming events. So last year, last year we had our first Future Summit just past September. We just had our second one. We went from 425 people to 725. Next year, we're looking to go to 1,000 to 1,200 attendees. It's going to be at the Santa Clara Convention Center on September 9th through the 10th. There's a link there at the bottom if you want to take a glimpse of what happened at the Future Summit. All the main stage sessions are recorded. All the breakout sessions are recorded, because we see that investment as an investment in our system for folks who can't attend, but who want to get access to that information, those resources. Next year, we're going to be doing 2, this year, Dreamscape Learn came in and set up a virtual reality studio where folks could come in and kind of experience that virtual reality. Next year, we're going to continue to do that, but also we're going to integrate what we're calling our AI Reels, which is a student AI film competition. So if you want more information on that, you can please reach out to me and I'll get that to you. We want our students to be able to lean into AI through that particular medium. And then we're also going to be bringing in and developing an esports component. And so, as you all know, esports is wildly popular amongst our learners across all demographics. And there are huge implications for workforce, not just as a gamer, but as a designer or in marketing, manufacturing, all kinds of different spaces for us to lean into in that work. So I think that's my last slide. If not, oh yeah, last slide, sorry. So this is just a slide of all of our AI resources. You can go to the Chancellor's Office AI page and find all of these links there as well. But I just wanted to give you access to all the links that give you all the deep data around all the things I've talked about and more. So, all right, so with that, I'll turn it back over to Dean Fortin and see if there's any questions. I'll hang around if so. Thanks. Everyone.
Appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and share my slide because we realized that one of our share my screen because one of our slides did not get into the deck. So hopefully you can see that screen. We want to end our conversation with some of the deep investments that we're making across our workforce development programs in K-12 SWP and Perkins. For round 8 of fiscal year 2025-2026 allocation, the Chancellor's Office received a whopping 314 K-12 SWP applications, requesting a total of just about $260 million. The application review process is currently underway, and we will have $150 million to award We are expecting to announce our awardees, our grantees, in December. The second update is on Perkins for the fiscal year 2025-2026. The Chancellor's Office received just under $65 million from the CDE that was distributed to 72 community college districts across California. And the allocations were based on the 2023-2024 unduplicated counts of students enrolled in CTE programs who met the economically disadvantaged criteria. The application was released to colleges in April of 2025, and completed applications were due in May 2025. The memo was sent out and award notifications were made in June, and the districts began to obligate funds in July of 2025. And that concludes the Perkins and SWP updates and the Chancellor's updates. Thank you very much. I'll pass it to Mindy.
Thank you so much.
Maybe we could open it up for any clarifying questions. That was a lot of great information from the Chancellor's Office. Very good stuff, very exciting stuff. But maybe if there are any committee members that have any clarifying questions before we hear from Director Parsons. Okay, hearing none. I'll turn it over to.
Oh, I see two hands up.
Miss those.
Yes, good morning, and happy to see happy to see us staying ahead of, or at least moving alongside AI, because it's everything is happening so fast. And I just had a question about the let's see, education, innovation in the digital era, the future summits. Is this strictly for California community colleges? Can high school administrators attend? And as far as the AI movie competition, can high school students compete?
Great questions. On the first question, it was restricted initially to mostly administrators the first year, then we opened it up to faculty. Internal next year, we'll be opening it up to more folks, more attendees. So yes, we would invite our K-12 leadership to attend there as well, and community college leadership from out of state have expressed an interest. The goal in 2027 is to be at the Moscone Center in San Francisco, and that will require us to have at minimum 2,000 attendees. And we will also be bringing in our climate and our collective equity impact institutes, and we merging those two events at that time. So we'll have a lot of intersectionality around all those topics: the impact of AI on climate, the impact of AI on communities, social justice oriented stuff as well. So yes, please attend, and we're working on the marketing package right now, and then we'll get that posted out here in a couple of weeks. As far as the AI reels, I think on this first year, we might want to limit it to our community college students for the competition part. But I'm certainly happy to open up a category of students, high school students who want to submit for review. They may not be eligible for the competition. So, and we will be providing cash prizes through the generous donation of the iHeart company to our winners of that film competition. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah, absolutely. Great suggestions.
Recognize Member Rawlings and then Member Williams after that.
My hand's not raised, so we can jump to Member Williams.
Okay. Member Williams.
First, I just applaud all of the great work, and just, one recommendation, if the resource and the interest is there, with the fellowship, maybe broaden it to K-12 practitioners, and then just even policymakers across the board that, have responsibility in both systems, to get them thinking about how to use AI and, from a policy standpoint, some of the Yeah, so this opening it up to K-12 folks and then maybe policymakers.
Great suggestions, Member Williams. We'll definitely bring that back to our leadership team and start to think about working on that.
Very good. All right, thank you for all that great information. We're going to move to our next presenter, who's our Division Director from CDE, Mindy Parsons. Thank you, Mindy.
Thank you. So I will give an update on the California Technical Education Incentive Grant and the Perkins Grant for the 25-26 school year. We'll get our slides up in just a minute. Oh, there we go. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so I'll go ahead and start with our Perkins federal funding. This year, we distributed $54 million to 356 K-12 agencies. Now, please keep in mind, this does include consortium members. We wanted to highlight the real impact that is happening with our K-12 with these federal funds. We also allocated $3.8 million to 37 adult education programs and $475,000 to our 3 state special schools. So that is the School for the Deaf Fremont, School for the Deaf Riverside, and School for the Blind in Fremont. So Perkins operates a formula grant, and all participating agencies are grantees. They need to conduct a local needs assessment, and they're required to report on federal performance indicators. The focus remains on equity, outcomes, and serving special populations effectively. The Perkins team has been very intentional about providing technical assistance and support to our LEAs and grantees. In fact, last month we provided a training to over 350 Perkins recipients on the program grant management system, and we discussed fiscal questions, budget expenditures, revisions, capital outlay, things like that. And in January, the Perkins team will be providing another training in collaboration with one of our grantees on how to develop a comprehensive needs assessment. And we're going to continue to provide these trainings and technical assistance supports as it meets the needs of our grantees. Next slide. Now, on the state side, we allocated approximately $287 million in CTIG funding to 599 K-12 agencies this year. Again, that number does include consortium members because, again, we want to show the true impact our state funds are having with our LEAs. Of the 599 LEAs, 429 are fiscal agents. And just on Wednesday, our State Board of Education approved those allocations, so thank you very much for approving those. Our CTIG program is a competitive grant program, and it requires a 2-to-1 local match, meaning agencies have to invest $2 of local funds for every grant dollar received. This match structure ensures sustainability and demonstration between our local commitment. When you factor in that match, our $287 million in state grants generates approximately $860 million in total CTE investment statewide, just for our CTIG recipients. Funds support the creation of expanding and creating career pathway programs, CTE equipment and materials, and of course, teacher development opportunities. CTIG allocations are based on average daily attendance and positive consideration. This funding formula has been in place for several years and was developed by CDE and our Executive Director of the State Board of Education. Next slide. So I want to address funding streams and what we call braining. So currently 341 agencies are successfully integrating both Perkins and CTIG funding, which is amazing. The value of braiding is that these fund sources complement each other strategically. Perkins covers foundational costs such as staffing, needs assessment, compliance monitoring, while CTIG enables enhancements, equipment purchases, work-based learning expansion, new pathway development and creation. When layered together, agencies can build more comprehensive programs that meet the needs of our students and industry. Once K-12 Strong Workforce awards are finalized, we'll have a complete data on the 3 funding sources, Perkins, CTIG, and K-12 Strong Workforce. And we can definitely provide that on all 3 through grant programs at the next CWPJAC meeting. Next slide. So 55 of our 58 counties received at least one of these funding streams, and 53 counties received both CTIG and Perkins. We still have 3 counties that do not receive these funds, and CDE is going to do the best we can to reach out and encourage these counties to apply for these funds in the future. Next slide. Okay, so Senate Bill SB 638 was just approved and signed by the governor. So this bill allocates an additional $150 million to our CTIG program. And what we would like to do is combine these funds with our 300 annual allotment that we get with the $150 million and disperse them in the 26-27 school year. The department will also like to move up the timeline of our CTIG request for application, possibly in the January or February months. This way, we can take it to the State Board of Education for approval at its March or May meeting. We want to do this because we want to allow our LEAs to be notified of what their preliminary allocations will be, so they know that before the start of the school year, and so they can do this for planning purposes. And I just want to take a moment to thank the College and Career Transition Division team that worked very hard on the CTIP program this year. We really intensified our outreach strategies through live webinars, reaching out to superintendents, providing direct support to our potential grantees, presenting at a number of statewide events, especially targeting our rural school districts, charters, ROPs. And I'm happy to announce that our outreach did have an impact because we had an increase in 25 new LEAs that applied for CTIG for the first time. So again, this would not have been possible without the hard work of our CTIG staff members. So thank you guys so much. So in closing, we distributed approximately $54 million in federal Perkins funding, $287 million in state CTIG funding, and we're currently awarding $150 million in K-12 Strong Workforce. With required CTIG matches, again, the total investments exceeds $860 million statewide. We have 341 agencies successfully coordinating and braiding their Perkins and CTIG funds. And I know there's going to be many more once we add our K-12 Strong Workforce LEAs. And then for students, this means expanded access to industry-aligned programs with current equipment, meaningful work-based learning opportunities, and career pathways from secondary through post-secondary education to careers. Moving forward, we remain focused on expanding access, elevating program quality, ensuring California students across our regions can build the skills our economy demands. So thank you so much, and that is our update.
A lot of great information there. Thank you to our presenters here from CDE and as well as the Chancellor's Office. Great information. I'm going to open it up for committee members who may want to jump out there and share a question or comments on our presentations. We're also going to put up the public comment slide for members of the public to prepare their comments also. Committee members, Rawlings, I see your hand up.
Thank you for that, Chair. So Mindy, some of the comments you made kind of brought me back to early discussions we had many years ago here, which was making sure that our application deadlines were both relatively aligned to make it easier for our LEAs to be able to use the current information that they developed for each application. So kind of condensing the applications as much as we can. But I thought we had previously, but it doesn't sound like we did, move the application deadlines to do exactly what you're talking about for CTIG. And so is there anything you need from us to make that happen? And are there other application deadlines that we should be looking at doing the same thing? Because the earlier notice, I mean, we all know this is what you're saying, is the earlier notice that our LEAs have, the better they can plan for it that next fiscal year, and especially with the local boards needing to be able to understand the scope of the support that they're getting through these programs would be really important as well, and we want to make sure they get that as early as possible. So is there anything you need from us to do all that?
No, but the encouragement is great. And so I agree with you. This year we did send out the application for CTIG in the fall. Well, actually it was in the summer with a collection date of, I think, September, which is, I think, around the same time as K-12 Strong Workforce. So we did hear quite a bit from our LEAs who had to write both grants about the same time. So again, we would like to move up CTIG this next time and do it, maybe January, February, so our LEAs can plan for the next school year. But yeah, this year we did do it over the summer, which also makes it really hard for LEAs who may be out. And so we're very mindful of that. We would like to move it up next time, especially with the new funding. So now we have $450 million to allocate for the 26-27 school year. So we want to be really intentional and get that application out, make sure our LEAs have enough time to submit it, and that we won't be competing with the K-12 Strong Workforce application timelines as well. I know we will be bringing the CTIG item in January. That will be an action item, and that will go over the metrics. And so we'll be asking for comments and feedback on the metrics, and that will go into our legislative report November of 2026.
Yes, very good. I'm curious about the 3 counties that are not participating, and I appreciate you waving the flag to those LEAs and counties to get them involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if they can, join a consortium, if they don't have the capacity to be a fiscal lead, just reaching out and seeing if they can join a consortium from a neighboring district or county would be good, just to help those students within the county.
Yes, thank you. All right. I'm going to move us into public comment. I see our public comment slide is now available. We invite members of the public wishing to provide any comments on this item through Zoom, email, in person, or phone to prepare to do so now. Rachel, do we have any public comments on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
All right, that concludes public comment for this agenda item. Great information. Thank you to all the presenters. I'm going to move us to item 4. This item provides a joint update from the California Community Colleges Chancellor's Office and the California Department of Education on non-credit and adult education activity. I welcome Caroline Zachary from CDE and Gary Adams and Myra Diaz from the Chancellor's Office to present.
Great, thank you very much. I'm Caroline Zachary, and I am the State Director and Education Administrator at here at the department over the Adult Education Office. You can go to the next slide. And as you've heard, 3 of us will be presenting this morning, and we will be presenting on the following topics. Next slide. We'll be talking about where adult ed started in California, where we are now, and then what the future holds for adult education. Next slide. Next slide. All right, so as the State Director for Adult Education, I'm always very proud to share nationally that California is really the first and was the leader in what we know today as adult education. Adult education began 6 years after California became a state, and it was founded with the San Francisco Board of Education, focusing on night classes for individuals to gain literacy skills, including English, as well as vocational skills. So really the first idea of having adult learners learning English, basic skills, and vocational skills all together at the same time started here in California. And that quickly expanded across the state with Los Angeles, Oakland, and Sacramento, bringing more adult schools into the evenings in the 1870s and 1880s. And then as we move into the 20th century, as we shift from an agrarian culture, we're moving into the Industrial Revolution, there was really a notice that we needed more workforce development in education services for Californians. So again, that helped to expand adult education in California. In 1907, the very first, at that time, called junior college, was established in Fresno. Next slide. And then in 1921, I think this is really interesting because this is an ed code that's still on the books and something that we still look at today. And that is that if there were 20 or more individuals 18 years of age and older who could not speak, read, or write English at a proficient level, then that school district was to establish classes to help those individuals learn English. And that is still relevant today. A couple other highlights in the 1900s were 1926. The first state plan for adult education was developed. In 1927, the Division of Adult Education was created here at the department. And then we saw our very first influx of some federal funding and federal support for adult education right during the Depression. And that was really looking at, again, literacy classes, vocational training, and bringing in parent education. So again, parent education has been part of adult education for quite a long time. In California in 1945, we had the first adult education teaching credential was authorized. And by the end of the 1940s, enrollment in adult education programs in California was nearly 800,000 students. We're going to jump quickly into the 1960s, where we saw a huge increase in federal support for adult education with several different acts. And that was really helping, again, looking at literacy programs and workforce development and bringing those pieces together. Also in the 1960s, we had the California Master Plan for Higher Ed came into being. Next slide. And so again, we can see that through that master plan and through the junior colleges throughout California from the 1910s all the way up till the 1960s, community colleges or junior colleges were offering non-credit programs as well to support adult learners in the same areas of literacy, vocational, which is what it was called back then, and English learning. In 2013, we had what was called the Adult Education Block Grant. That legislation was passed, and we now call that CAPE. Next slide. Throughout all of this time period, we're gonna highlight a couple areas related to the budget history. So prior to the Great Recession, California had invested about $750 million in support for adult education. And we had enrollment at community college non-credit programs and adult schools at over 900,000 students. And then when the recession came into being and school districts were given flexibility just so that they could meet payroll and keep the lights on, a lot of districts took both their adult education funding and their ROP funding and used that just to make ends meet. And that redirection of funding really reduced programming and services for adult learners in California in those public spaces. So in 2013 and 14, the legislature asked to have some research done on what would it look like to do a consortium model throughout California. And that became known as the Adult Education Block Grant. And to this day, this year, we have $650 million. I can tell you that that is 6 times what our WIOA Title II fund is. And so it's a huge investment in adult education in California. The next slide. Of that, in that California Adult Education Program, we call it CAPE. We changed that name because we had a lot of fiscal staff who thought the word grant meant it was going to go away. And so we were able to get that changed through legislation to really show that it was permanent funding. And in addition to that, we also have our technical assistance projects. We have 2, one at SCOE, the Sac County Office of Ed, and the other one at the North Orange Continuing Education. And they are really there to help and support our agencies that are receiving this funding in this really unique model, which we'll talk about in a moment. Next slide. So as you can imagine, when you have programs happening in K-12 adult schools and community college non-credit programs, there's some challenges because we want to make sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes, we're not duplicating services. And that also went to, that also happened to be an issue with vocational education at that time. And so back in the 40s, I think it was, there was a joint committee on vocational education. And that committee was really overseeing some federal vocational dollars. And that committee determined that the State Board of Education would oversee the statutory responsibilities of policy and accountability really related to the federal dollars, and to this day that still stands, and that each board, the State Board and the Board of Governors, would operate within their own jurisdictions. Again, that maintains today. But I think the interesting piece of all of this is that the Joint Committee on Vocational Education is now the California Workforce Pathways Joint Advisory Committee. So this work has been here for a very long time. On the other side, when we look at the adult education dollars coming from the federal government, the Department of Education is the state agency for those federal dollars, and we maintain that jurisdiction through CDE over those funds allocated in a competitive grant process to both adult programs, community-based organizations, and non-credit community college programs. A couple other pieces that I want to share about the governance challenges are that we had some, the challenges with the recession and really looking at these two segments of education and to bring these segments together. And there's been a movement to try and do that over many, many, many times over the years. And this last one that developed CAPE really we were really able to cement something that is unique in the country. It is very unique to have community colleges and K-12 adult schools working together in this collaborative manner in their region to meet the needs of the adults and the workforce within that region. And because we're bringing together two systems, we actually have developed CAPE priorities, which take the superintendent's initiatives and the Chancellor's Vision 2020, and we put those together to really look at the priorities of equity and leadership and learner transition and program evaluation, all those pieces that are in both of those initiatives. Next slide. So I think the really important piece to take away from this part of the history is that working adults have always needed time outside of traditional working hours in which to upskill, reskill, and prepare to enter the workforce for the first time. And that in addition to courses provided by K-12 adult schools, adult education formed one of the original three pillars from the community college's mission with non-credit courses such as English as a second language and citizenship classes. And so now I'm going to pass it over to Myra to talk about where we are now.
Myra there, you're up next.
It appears her mic is not working.
Are you able to hear me?
There she is.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, and good morning, everyone. So Carolyn has demonstrated, or Dr. Zachary was able to demonstrate California's longstanding commitment to adult education, as you can see. Next slide, please. And what we are going to now talk about is where we are today and who are the adult learners that we serve. And when we think about adult learners, we're thinking about a really diverse group of Californians, which are people from all walks of life. We actually have more than 2.5 million Californians living in poverty, and these are a potential pool of adult learners that our systems can serve through our adult education programs. We have over 4 million adults that are of the age of 25 or older who have never completed a high school diploma. In addition, there's an even larger group of about 6.8 million Californians that have started college but didn't quite finish. Let alone, we also have our immigrant population of more than 10 million Californians. And finally, these adult learners are an incredibly diverse group. who bring different cultural backgrounds, life experiences, and goals. And each learner has a story and a purpose, and our programs are perfectly suited to serve this adult learner population. Next slide, please. Vision 2030. We've heard a lot about Vision 2030, including Cherie's presentation earlier today and Dawn's update. Vision 2030 lays out the systems, the Chancellor's Office systems commitment to enhancing equitable workforce and economic development by ensuring that every learner, no matter their background, has access to real opportunities for education and career growth. Adult learners are a fundamental focus in Vision 2030 that emphasizes equitable access, support, and success for all Californians. And non-credit programs and adult education are at the forefront in achieving these goals to support our most vulnerable population, as these programs offer flexible and accessible pathways that lead to meaningful credentials and employment. And of course, there is certainly an alignment to the governor's master plan for career education. That is one of the system's priority. Next slide, please. So what I'm going to start off with is talking about non-credit education and how that fits into the community college model. And then I'll dive into talking and expanding a bit more about how that fits into the overarching program that Carolyn was able to provide us a historical overview in CAPE. And so talking about the community college non-credit adult education programs, these programs are flexible, no-cost or low-cost courses that help adults reach personal, academic, and career goals. Non-credit programming serves a critical equity role. It is often the first step for underserved learners to re-engage with education. Most importantly, students can transition from non-credit into college degree, certificate, or skilled employment. As we call it, there are multiple entry and exit points for our students entering these programs. And some of the programs that community college non-credit programs offer are CDCP, career development and career preparation, adult high school diploma, and career technical education programming is all a part of what the non-credit programs in our system offer. Next slide, please. As you can see here, non-credit programs create multiple entry and exit points. These non-credit programs play a vital role in helping students transition into credit-bearing programs and the workforce. They act as effective pathways for adults who want to continue their education or gain career-ready skills. Students have the ability to pursue a vocational certificate or complete an associate degree or even transfer to a university or what is most commonly now known in our community college system, be able to pursue a baccalaureate degree in applied learnings. So essentially, students in these programs can pursue a variety of pathways that are available to them. Next slide, please. So as we start diving into differentiating between non-credit and CAPE, what you will see is essentially these two different sets of program areas that are regulated either by the community college non-credit or the California Adult Education Program. So on the left, you can see the 10 non-credit instructional areas that are defined by Title V. And on the right, you can see the CAPE program areas. And both, there are some overlap in many ways, such as ESL programs, basic skills, and workforce preparation. However, together, these instructional program areas ensure that adult learners have comprehensive, flexible pathways to meet educational, career, and personal goals. I think that's what is really unique to the adult education model, is being able to provide our students with these various opportunities to have a starting point and then essentially determine the pathway given what we provide at the community colleges so that students can choose the pathway that they want to pursue. Next slide, please. Adult education, as we know, serves a diverse group of learners. And I think that is what is key to the programs that we offer, as multiple students enroll to improve their English skills or perhaps prepare for U.S. citizenship. Especially in today's time, adult education cannot be more critical to the communities that are served across the state. Some students are enrolling in these programs to learn English or earn a high school diploma. Some are preparing to go to college or using adult education as a stepping stone into a community college or a university program. However, for many, the focus is essentially on career advancement, gaining skills for a new job, or trying to promote in their current line of work, or essentially transitioning into the workforce. Next slide, please. So I finished talking about non-credit programs and providing an overview. Now we can transition to discuss the adult education program. And Carolyn or Dr. Zachary was able to share the model of how we arrived where we are at today in this joint effort between the California Community College Chancellor's Office and the California Department of Education. And CAPE is this state-wide regional collaboration that is designed to coordinate adult education services and to promote student transitions. We serve over 400 member districts that are a part of this unique regional model, and it does include all 72 community college districts, along with 300 K-12 districts and county offices of education. Education code essentially defines how this program is structured and governed via this joint administration. In addition, the program is also supplemented by federal WIOA Title II funds, about $108 million in 21-22, and most recently about $117 million is projected for fiscal year 25-26. WIOA funds are awarded, WIOA Title II funds are awarded on a competitive four-year cycle. Also want to highlight that the California Adult Education Program also supports and helps fund a joint statewide CAPE Summit that serves our practitioners on both sides of the systems, whether it's practitioners, faculty, administrators. This annual CAPE-wide state summit is a really great opportunity for to bring together our two systems and provide professional development opportunities to our practitioners across the state. Next slide, please. So now the why. You know, what we have heard, there has not been a more important time for our education systems to focus on adult learners and strengthen programs like CAPE and on credit. With the Department of Finance projecting a decline of more than 500,000 students by 2031 through 2032, it is critical that we expand support for adult education to meet California's evolving workforce and community needs. Next slide, please. In addition, we know that there's been an emerging trend of a shortage of skilled workers, and many jobs require skills training beyond high school. Adult education programs are a perfect vehicle for our students, for our adult learners that are seeking to gain additional skills or enhance their skills or upskill. Next slide, please. What are the benefits and return of investment when it comes to adult education programs? Well, you see three various categories, such as economical, right? There are workforce training aligned programs with local employer needs. Our programs ensure that students are getting quality education so that they are able to connect to the employer and essentially be able to gain employment, which is a part of one of the metrics that we measure. Educational benefits. Our adult education programs are bridges to credit bearing. Now, we know not all students are prepared perhaps right off the bat to transfer to a credit program. However, by providing them with the possibilities and as they enhance their skills and ability to transition, they will be able to see the endless possibilities and be able to identify a pathway that best suits their needs. And lastly, institutional and community return of investment. This ensures that we are addressing regional skills gaps, as was mentioned in the prior slide. Next slide, please. So where are we at today? CAPE enrollment, as mentioned, this joint effort, what you are seeing here is our outcomes data from both of our systems, adult schools and community college non-credit programs. And we are happy to share that we are seeing an increase in reportable individuals since 22-23. And most importantly, we are now exceeding pre-pandemic levels and continue to trend upward. We currently have 573,000 students that are a part of our participant pool, and that is also continuing to trend upward year over year. Next slide, please. Additional metrics to share with you all. We talked about the increase in participants that we are seeing being served by our California Adult Education Program. That's about 16% increase. Also a great recognition on our 28% increase for our adult education program students that have achieved an educational level gain. That's a really great increase to celebrate. Also, we've had about 17% increase, about 67,000 students complete a non-credit workforce preparation milestone. And lastly, our immigrant integration milestone has also seen a 20% increase. So these are all positive increases that we are continuing to monitor and track post-pandemic. And so we are really excited to see the great work that our programs are continuing to offer across the state. Next slide. A really important metric, not just at the state level that we like to see, but most importantly, the impact that this has on our students' employment and earnings. We are as well seeing that there is an increase of 10.7% between program years of participants transitioning into employment. Our adult education programs are aligned to ensure that we are connecting students to enter employment and essentially are aligning these programs to help increase and attain livable wages. Next slide, please. And the last two metrics I'm going to highlight are going to be important metrics that we are continuing to work on, and that is transition to post-secondary and immigrant integration through the unique model of this adult education program and the partnership between our adult schools and our community college. This really gives us an opportunity to align those transition points and pathway opportunities for our students. And we are continuing to see an increase between our K-12 adult school program transitioning into community college programs. And so there's a lot of work to continue to do in that area. And that is something that we are continuing to focus on. And lastly, participants that are completing an immigrant integration milestone. Another pre-pandemic metric that has exceeded, and we continue to see great gains in these two metrics as well as the others that we have mentioned. Next slide, please. And finally, our legislature continues to make substantial investments in adult education programs, and currently in fiscal year 25-26, despite the current budget deficit, the legislature has continued to make an investment and a promise to serving adult learners across the state. We currently have an allocation of $668 million, and we're granted a 2.3% COLA increase. And I am going to stop there and hand it over to Gary. Thank you.
Welcome, Gary.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Myra. That was an excellent summary of where the California Adult Education Program currently stands. We're very pleased with the recent gains in enrollment, employment, and particularly post-secondary transition. Now I would like to share with you some of the examples of what CAPE is currently focused on in the near future and where we are heading as a program. Next slide, please. The CAPE team is continually refining and maintaining the annual processes that really keep the program running for our constituents out in the field. You can see the annual timeline here with the main processes, activities, and due dates for the field. Next slide. Myra talked earlier about our data and metrics, which are extremely important to us and define our progress and return on investment. When the program was put back into the state budget in 2013-14 and started operation again around 2015, there was a statewide data and accountability work group. 10 years have passed. We are reconvening that work group to look again at our outcomes and how we can better improve what we do for state citizens. Next slide. Another big focus is English language learner healthcare vocational pathway program. This is part of the governor's care economy package in the fiscal 22-23 budget. $130 million was earmarked for this program, and the CAPE program is administering the distribution of those funds. Round one of the funding has completed for most recipients, while some are filing an extension to continue expenditure of their funding. Round two is currently underway, and we anticipate round three, which will be $50 million in the very near future. Next slide. And this is the outline of that distribution. Round one, 30 million, round two, 40 million, and the prospective RFA that we're pushing out. Next slide. Now we have a slide, a video that is very important because it talks about the whole reason that this program is so important. And it's the voice of our students. Can we play the video, please?
When I recently moved here, I was trying to get a job. I've been staying home mom for like 15 years.
I really do not know what I'm gonna do with my life after migrating here in 2021.
Here comes the schedule of NOCE, and it said completely free tuition.
Stand by.
Technical difficulties always occur. Your grace is appreciated.
Do we have any comments or clarifying questions from committee members right now? So we're waiting for the video.
Mr. Chair, it's unfortunate the video is not playing because it is the voice. It is the voice of our students, and we wanted to present that to you so that they could tell their stories. Next slide.
Yeah, we might want to just move forward. Next slide. There's your slide.
Yes, Mr. Chair. These are various looking forward to the future. We're looking for more state investment in the adult education program. We feel that the on and off ramps to our workforce are both our adult schools and our non-credit community college programs. Next slide, please. And we would like to thank you for listening to our presentation, particularly right before lunch. And are there any questions, as the chairman alluded to, of members?
I don't see any hands up. Comments, questions from the committee? I want to thank our presenters, some great information from Carolyn and Gary and Myra. Thank you. Good information. Great history and excellent information on the programs available to all students in California. Great stuff. And at this time, I want to put up the public comment slide for members of the public wishing to provide any comments on this item through Zoom, email, in person, or phone to prepare to do so. Public comment. Rachel, do we have any public comment on this item?
We have no public comment on this item.
All right, thank you. This concludes the public comment period for agenda item 4. Our next item 5 is public comments. The public is invited to make public comment on any item that's not on the agenda today. It's your opportunity. I see the public comment slide is up.
We have no public comment on this item.
Thank you. I'd like to thank members of the public for attending this meeting. It's now time for comments on any item, or if we have committee members who have thoughts or reflections that they'd like to share for the future, this is a good time to do so. See any hands up? That's good. Today we've covered several topics pertinent to the secondary and post-secondary education. I would like to thank everyone in attendance for a very productive meeting. Our next scheduled meeting we're aiming for January 16th at 9:30 next year. We'll see you next year, right? All right. Thank you all for. And what time is it today? It's 11:51. I'd like to adjourn this meeting at this time. Thank you, and thank you to the staff for all the good preparation and materials today. All right, happy Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.